Yo, it was a tough road trip to the Sunshine State. 0-2. You lose to Orlando, to Miami. But today's game, or should I say Wednesday's game, a scheduled loss to the Heat. The Warriors showed a lot of fight, why it wasn't enough, and a big takeaway that I took away from this game with a lot of different dudes stepping up for the Warriors, but no one really standing out. That's straight ahead.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast.
What are they going to say now?
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yo, thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Warriors. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Now the #1 sports podcast network out there. My name's Charlie Walter, host the show Monday through Friday. Check us out on YouTube. Take us on the go wherever you get your audio podcasts. And know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. If your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. On the program today, Miami Heat 110, Golden State Warriors 96. We're going to spend some time breaking this one down. Why I thought the Warriors showed a lot more fight than it looked early. I mean, early on, you thought they were going to roll over and just accept the fact that this was a punted game, a scheduled loss. But they took the lead into the fourth quarter before Norman Powell and Bam Adebayo just said, game over. We're better than you. And we know it. It's Globo Gym. It's the Miami Heat tonight. So the scheduled loss, we'll get into some of the good, we'll get into the bad, we'll get into the goofy, and we will get into why all these guys for the Warriors are so similar to where you smell that it's a consolidation trade coming at some point if the Warriors are serious about being contenders. That's my big takeaway. All right, let's get into the game. First of all, Warriors lose by 14. They were down by 14 much of the first half, it felt like, or 11, 12, whatever. But it was a closer game than the scoreboard would indicate. And I thought there were a lot of guys that fought extremely hard for Golden State. You played with a lot of heart. You had a late lead. I mentioned Powell and Bam go for 26 of the last 29, meaning the better team did win today. But it was almost Indiana status for the Heat. I'm sure their fans felt a lot like Warriors fans felt that day after Halloween when you're wondering how the hell are we in the game with the Indiana Pacers who don't have anyone. The entire team's out. And the difference is that Pacers team, correct me if I'm wrong, had Pascal Siakam. This Warriors team had Moses Moody as the best player on paper. Now, the best player by game's end, you can make the argument. Pods was the leader in the stat sheet. I would probably say Quentin Post was the best player on the floor for the Warriors today, with a close second being Pat Spencer, the lacrosse player from Northwestern. No, the hooper. He was great, man. He was dishing out dimes. But the good, it's that I thought the Warriors fought really hard, and I think we can get the big takeaway that a consolidation trade is probably the best thing for this team. And how they would get it done, we'll get into that in just a minute. But Post, Trace Jackson-Davis, Pat Spencer, the offensive rebounding, that was huge for the Warriors today. Podziemski, I mentioned, led the way with 20 points, 6 of 19. Then it was Post who had 19 on 8 of 13, 3 of 7 from 3, 6 rebounds. Did turn it over 5 times, but everyone turned it over for the Warriors. They had 21 total, and there's an easy reason to why they turn it over so much, regardless of who's in the lineup, and it's the way that they run this offense. A perfect example is when it's humming, you get that play where Pods crashes the glass, or maybe it was Pat, because Pat had an offensive rebound that was big too, but I think it was Pods crashed the glass, kicked it out left wing to Gary Payton, goes top of the key to Moses Moody, who touch passes it to his right to Pat Spencer, who was dishing dimes, and he finds Post in the corner to knock down a 3. When everything's humming, that sort of offense, it's not simple, but it's a thing of beauty. You're going to get good looks consistently. But obviously, when you're passing around the perimeter 6 times and certain players have certain ideas to cut, you saw it with Buddy a few times tonight. I think you saw it with Post. You saw some high passes. Just in general, you don't give yourself as much room for error. When you're, dribble drive, one kick, one shot, you're more likely to get a shot off than if you're, passing it all around the perimeter. And frankly, the Warriors shooting percentage tonight wasn't great at 36%. They were 27% from deep. But it was the rebounding. For once, that I pointed to and said, damn. And it makes sense. The Warriors ran Trace Jackson Davis quite a bit, 25 minutes. He had 8 points, 11 rebounds, 6 of them offensive. So he shows you against a player like Khalil Ware and against a big like Bam Adebayo. I mean, Steve Kerr, he had no choice tonight but to go huge. And another player that played bigger than his size was Pat Spencer, who had the 8 rebounds, also the 13 assists and 11 points. I mean, Pat Spencer, low-key, was flirting with a triple-double. I almost came on here not realizing that Pat was 2 rebounds away from a triple-double. Man, stuff in the stat sheet and a plus 10. How about Pat Spencer? It's a good thing Kolsky's not on the program tonight. He would have had to take that L. Anyways, Buddy Hield had 18 points, and he's part of the bad tonight. We'll get into that in a minute. He had 18 points on 4 of 15 from 3, just like Pods, who had 20 points on 6 of 19 shooting, 2 of 7 from 3. At a certain point, efficiency matters. And Moses Moody, 3 of 12. Again, I think you're getting what I'm hinting at with consolidation here. I think you're getting what I'm putting out. It's a continuation from that talk after the Magic game. Has nothing to do with the Warriors' loss tonight. It just has to do with a culmination of 2, 3, 5 years of sample size to where Joey, Mike, Steve, fellas, it's go time. It's go time. We got to do something when the chance presents itself, if it does present itself. Maybe it's impossible. Trades are hard. I don't know. The goofy from this game, Will Richard, played 18 minutes. Now, chat, you can pop in if there was a hamstring tweak or something that I wasn't aware of, but he was at 16 for the longest time and finished with 18, so I don't think that was the case. Steve Kerr has this weird thing where in a game where Kuminga's out, I buried the lead, by the way. Kuminga, Curry, Draymond, and Jimmy Butler did not play in this game. I think the scheduled loss comment at the very beginning, Al Horford too. I think the scheduled loss comment kind of points to, all those guys missing, but you were missing Kuminga too. So this is even worse than that Sacramento Kings game where Will Richard steps up and gives you 30. And tonight he plays, 18 minutes. Not to say that Will Richard was the reason you lost this game and that we should be spending more than 90 seconds that we are now on why isn't Will Richard getting a little more run, but it is a little interesting that he only gets 18 minutes. Podziemski goes for 34 minutes. And I'm sorry, but, and this is from a Pods apologist, aside from grabbing rebounds and being pesky on help side defense, if Pods is going 6 of 19 from the floor, you can't tell me that he's that much more important than Will Richard. Steve Kerr loves him. It's very clear. And he's going to live by the Pods. He's going to die by the Pods, it seems, as of now. But on the stat sheet, he did lead the way with 20 points. I also find it interesting that Podziemski is shooting 45% from the floor and 38% from 3. Like, the splits just don't add up. I watch all these games. You watch all these games. Is he shooting 38% from 3 this season? It doesn't feel that way. It's like he's friends with someone that holds on to the scorebook. Like when I was in charge of the book back in the day, I'd have some teammates, Barlow, I'd have some teammates come over and, tap me and say, hey, and practice now. Hey, give me that deflection. You got a $25 gift card to a pizza spot. If you led the team in deflections or whatever, give me a little nudge. Try to be cool with that person. I don't know. Obviously that's not happening, but it does seem a little strange that he's shooting so well, but I guess the numbers don't lie, right? Maybe it's just a what have you done for me lately? And there have been some moments where it hasn't been great. But again, Moses Moody wasn't good, 3 of 12. And it was just a couple days ago where he goes for 32 against the Pelicans. And this is my issue. It's just so inconsistent. And you look on the other side at a player like Norman Powell, who goes for, how many points when it was all said and done? 10 of 14 from the floor for 25 points. Norman Powell wasn't a finished product overnight. This is a decade in the making. This is the best Norman Powell we've ever seen. And there were 4 or 5 years there where he averaged 8 points before he stepped it up to 15 and then 18 and then regressed to 16 and then 21. You need some grown-ass men on your team. And right now the Warriors, they literally don't have them. Moody's, 20, 23, 22. He's young. He played one season in college and was capiche. Old rules, when guys went to school for 3-4 years, he'd be a year, 2 years into the league. He's got a long time to grow, but the timeline, it's now, you would think, with the moves that the Warriors have made. Anyways, let's continue talk on this game, consolidation trades, all the fun things on today's Locked On Warriors.
And buddy, stop trying to dribble the ball.
Not for real. Today's episode is brought to you by Quo. Let's talk about something every business owner knows too well. It's missed calls. When a customer tries to reach you and it can't get through, that's money slipping away. Quo, spelled Quo, is the smarter way to run your business communications so you never miss an opportunity. Quo is the #1 business phone system built for 2025, not 1995, although 90s great time. It's simple, modern, and designed to help you communicate faster, look more professional, and stay connected wherever you're working. I love that Quo works right from an app on your phone or your computer. No extra devices, no clunky landlines. Your whole team can share one number and collaborate on calls. And if you can't answer, they got an AI agent that handles everything. Automatic messages, doesn't leave customers hanging even after hours. It makes small businesses feel big. Try Quo for free at quo.com/LockedOnNBA. That's QUO.com/LockedOnNBA. And yes, you can even keep your existing number. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers. Today's episode is also brought to you by Rugiet. Let's be real. Making excuses doesn't solve anything. We've all heard them before. It's just stress. I'm tired. It happens to everyone sometimes. But when it comes to performance, sometimes your body just needs a little extra support. And that's where Rugiet comes in. Rugiet.com offers fast-acting, doctor-prescribed treatments for ED designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. Rugiet makes it easy to get started. There's no awkward waiting rooms, no in-person appointments. It's 100% online. If prescribed, it's going straight to your door. It's handled by real doctors. It's about connection and getting back to the moments that matter. Visit Rugiet.com/LockedOnNBA to get 15% off your first order. That's Rugiet, RUGIET.com/LockedOnNBA. Don't forget to use our code LockedOnNBA so they know we sent you. Rugiet, stop making excuses and start making moves.
Forget that. We champs. Why are you starting with that question? We got 4 championships.
All right, so some more talk from the game today. Pat Spencer, he was just distributing like I was as a UPS assistant on the holiday shift back in the day. If anyone out there did this job, great job to have in your younger years. You'd hop on the side of the car and you'd sprint to the doors with the packages like you were the 18-year-old chasing the tee in football, sliding, getting dirty, leaving someone's Hoover vacuum on their porch, whatever. Great job. Anyways, that's how Pat Spencer was distributing. Enough of the story time. But Heald missed a lot of shots in transition, it felt like, that would have allowed the Warriors to kind of get into this game earlier than they got into it. Because Post went crazy at a certain point and had like 11 straight points, it felt like, to bring the Warriors back into it. But there were times where the Warriors were down like 9, 8 in the first half, and they kept getting fast break opportunities. And instead of taking it to the rim, Pods, who I think hit the Pinoy step again today, and everyone's starting to figure out that decel. They're waiting for him. He's trapped. Like it's not working like it did a season ago. The craftiness needs to be replaced by a little bit of strength, by a little bit of power and sheer force. You see what Jimmy Butler just being able to either get to the line or scoring does on a fast break opportunity compared to that. But he kicks it out at one point, and Buddy misses a 3. Then Buddy misses another 3. There were just so many open looks that Buddy had that can win you a lot of games. But when you go final numbers, what did I say? 4 of 15 from 3. That's not going to get it done. The secret sauce of Buddy scoring 18 and the Warriors winning, we'll go asterisk on that one. So I think because of the Lakers game, I think it's now 1-1, but there's an asterisk next to that one because the Warriors didn't play anyone. So that's just, we're calling it there. Asterisk. So that was some of the bad. Buddy dribbling off his foot. Miscommunication, just the turnovers. But the good was the hustle. It was the rebounding. It was some of the play from the unsung guys that you wouldn't imagine. And then the goofy, was Will Richard getting the least amount of minutes on the team. I just asked the question, am I missing something, Chad? He looks pretty solid out there usually when he gets his opportunities. Is he only a guy that connects well with the starters? Again, last time he had an opportunity to ball out, he went for 30. So I now feel like the people that have been going after Kerr about Moody and Kuminga, or even the Trace Jackson Davis stands, the few that are out there that are like, we need to get bigger. And tonight proves that, hey, if the Warriors are big from time to time, they can, even a team that has Kel'el Ware and Bam Adebayo, that can bang a little with the big fellas. So I want to get into the consolidation portion of all this. These guys are so similar. Like, truly, Moses Moody, who had 9 points in a game where he should be one of your best players on the floor. Look, he went for 32 a couple nights ago. He was probably your third or fourth best player on the floor against the Spurs. Offensively, probably your third best player. He's shown in flashes that he can be that dude. But again, it goes back to timelines. He's not replacing Steph Curry. He's a role player at this point. Maybe he has the career trajectory of someone like a Norman Powell, that 7-8 years into the game, he can be a lead guy, but I wouldn't bank on it. I think he's someone that's going to be in the league for a long time, and he's valuable for the Warriors right now for a couple reasons. One, on the team, he is one of your better players, but again, inconsistent. He was on the bench for a lot of the playoffs last season. Sure, you can point to injuries, but you can't point to him, even Kuminga or Podziemski, that big three, as I call it. You can't point to any of those guys being consistent month over month. And honestly, Pods has probably been the closest to it last year, because second half of the year, month over month, he was pretty consistent. And hey, if he's got that in him, please bring it soon, because the Warriors are 9-8 and the Oklahoma City Thunder like 14-1. So not the end of the world. You're just not getting home court advantage in the playoffs. That's just about confirmed 17 games into the season. So if you thought the Warriors were winning the West in the regular season, yeah, that's obviously not going to happen. But we knew that. And there are these load management nights that happen from time to time where you give Curry, Draymond, Jimmy, all these guys rest. Hey, you're not going to complain about getting dudes fresh, but scheduling a loss in a game that now feels like you could have won, because Miami sleptwalked through this game for a lot of it. They weren't getting easy buckets, and their half-court offense did not look great. But hindsight's always 20/20. The easy decision was to punt this one and go back home with an overall successful start to the season, considering you're above 500 and you've just had a gauntlet of traveling to Milwaukee and to Indiana and back to Phoenix and over to, I don't think they've been to Phoenix, but to the Bay Area, and then over. I mean, they've been everywhere. The Florida trip, no East Coast mixed in there, but aside from that, they've been just about everywhere. No Texas either. For the Miami Heat, Andrew Wiggins, good to see you. He had 17 and 6. That would be nice. You know, if there was a way to have Andrew Wiggins on this team and his more consistent play than a Moody or a Podziemski or something, you'd take it. But look, this is how the chips fell, and the Warriors have the team that they have. The question is, for how much longer? I want to bring that up. Are the Warriors going to make some form of a consolidation trade this season? Is that on the horizon? Who would they go after? And how would they do it? Because here's my thinking. And the only reason I bring up the name Moses, even before a name like Podziemski, is everything is financial at the end of the day. We have reached a point in the new CBA that is so new to where I think this year it may feel a little bit like MLB trade deadline type ordeal, where if someone is not in your immediate needs, Lowry, Markkanen, look at the Clippers. If they're tanking, who's on that team that they'd be willing to get rid of? You know, if it goes that route, they may end up bouncing back and not going that route. But I heard the name, Zubac brought up to give you some size, and teams that in years past probably would say absolutely not. Now with, apron penalties and just with resetting the books, it maybe makes more sense to bring on draft capital as compared to before. And the Warriors have plenty of that. How much do you want to give up of it? It scares me. It's a scary game when you're likely going to stink at some point in the next 5 years to give up draft picks from the next 5 years, especially if they're fully unprotected. But those are the enticing picks for teams. They're thinking that way. And if you have a player like Kuminga that makes 25 and a guy like Moody that makes 13 and a player like Hield that makes 9, I mean, take Buddy Hield out of the lineup, take Moses Moody out of the lineup tonight and play a little more Will Richard, a little more Quentin Post, a little more Guy Santos. If you have Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green out there and name that other guy, Lauri Markkanen. I mean, Anthony Davis would have to be a completely different trade. You'd almost have to look into, if it wasn't Butler, it would have to be Draymond to get Anthony Davis. And you'd have to probably throw in a boatload of draft picks if the Mavericks wanted to go that route and go young and say, oh, we like Kuminga, we like draft picks, whatever. Because I don't think you're getting rid of Butler just for Anthony Davis. I think Butler's still super nice. Anthony Davis is super volatile with his injury issues. And defensively, you know, he could bring some of what Draymond, I guess, two-way wise, what Draymond doesn't bring offensively while giving you some defense. But that's a huge gamble. And I don't think the Warriors are going to move on from Draymond. I don't think they're going to get that creative with it. And because of that, you look at a player like Moses Moody that makes $13 million per season. And that is, unfortunately, I mean, if he's going to pop, it may potentially be somewhere else. But then it goes to the catch-22 of the Warriors love him. They extended him. He's homegrown talent. He shows you the capabilities, Knights, of being that dude. But again, how serious are they on winning this thing? Do you think this crew, adding in Curry and Butler, can win the entire thing? Or do you think they need one more two-way dude, whomever that may be? And if you can make the money work, because I think the plan has always been to get multiple dudes. Like when you got rid of Wiggins and swapped him for Jimmy Butler, you still had to get rid of Wiggins. And because of that, sure, Jimmy Butler, an upgrade from Andrew Wiggins, he's been awesome. You still needed that one other dude to kind of take you over the top. You got close to the top. You may be able to fight with the team for 7 games, but can you truly win a championship against the likes of OKC and Houston and Minnesota and Denver? 7-game series, a gauntlet of them with old guys and not a ton of consistent grown men that have done it before on your roster. Can you do that? My answer is probably not. And if you're not doing that, then what's the point of having this expensive ass roster? Just tear down the whole thing, go the OKC route. And if they're not willing to do that, then look, 2 timelines, adios, consolidate. It's like me and all the sports cards that we got over here. You got to get rid of some of them. They stack up. You have a lot of dudes that, look, again, I look at Hield making $9 million or something as compared to a player like Guy that, I mean, Guy and Hield can't really compare the two, but Pat and Pods, whatever, those two are making similar amounts of money. So it's not, but you get my point. It comes down to the financial factor and how you get ballpark to make the money work. And then from there, if you can make the money work, you do have enough picks in the bag. Now, would you want to get rid of those picks? That's someone that has a lot bigger paycheck than me making those decisions. But you at least have the option with the money working, and Kuminga being a player that is a pretty nice gamble. You get him in a different system. You've seen the flashes. You know the athleticism and the talent that's there. You have him on a deal that's friendly enough, right? I mean, you got a team option at the end of the season. You can go into next year seeing if he's worth giving some big extension to. And if not, that dude's off the books. You have Moses Moody on a pretty fair deal at $13 million in a couple of years and a couple of draft picks, all to get rid of a dude that is on a team that's going nowhere. How many teams that are going nowhere have guys that'll complement the Warriors? That's the question that we will be asking moving forward if they do decide to make a move. But again, we're still over a month away from any moves being made. Still a lot of games to be played. And there have been moments this year where overreactionary Chuck comes on this program and says, hey, 2 timelines is working. Keep it. But tonight's one of those nights where it shows you, is there that much of a drop off from bench player A to bench player Z to where it really matters at a certain point? You need better players at the more better players at the top to supplement some of the best, because Curry Butler as a 1-2, if you give him a 3 with Draymond defensively, I mean, you can compete more so than now. I'll tell you that much. This is Locked On Warriors. Let's get to Around the League. Tie a ribbon on today's show that is coming up.
Who can stop Steph Curry?
Hopefully we'll never find out.
All right, today's episode is brought to you by Skims. When they announced that they were making underwear for men, I was super excited, but I'm not one of those guys that flies to the World Wide Web right away to buy stuff. So Locked On Podcast Network, them being a sponsor, they sent me tons, and I fell in love with the Stretch 5 boxer brief. It feels like you're, wearing kind of a workout. It's made for workouts, but it's also made for everything, for casual days, going to sleep, lounging around the house. It's comfortable. Don't take my word for it. Check out Skims. They don't ride up. They don't lose their shape, whether you're working, traveling, working out, hanging out at home. They feel better than everything you're used to. And the nice thing is, if you're saying, well, I'm not Chuck, I'm like you. I'm not one of those guys that goes online and does my shopping. Perfect. They got a physical store in San Francisco. It's 567 Hayes Street in Hayes Valley. Check them out. When you place your order, choose podcast in the post-purchase survey. Select our show from the dropdown to let them know that we sent you. Plus, the SKIMS Holiday Shop is open. So if you're looking for the perfect gift this season, Skims has you covered. And I lied. They do not have the physical store in San Francisco. So visit Skims online. But I got your attention now. So skims.com, select podcast. The holiday shop is open. The best underwear. It's all for you. Order some. Check it out. It's great stuff. Today's episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. That's America's #1 sportsbook. Even if you missed the start of a game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. It's the official sports betting partner of the NBA, and it keeps every game even more exciting. Combine your live bets into same-game parlays for an even bigger payout. Hit those live lines, those over-unders. And right now, new customers get in on the action because you get $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, let's get back to the show.
Destroy Jimmy and Domino's. I know Jimmy drinks great wine.
All right, final score, Warriors lose by 14 in the game today. Some thoughts. Miami has some nice young players. Jaime Jaquez, who got a couple of years in at UCLA under Mick Cronin. He's a pretty nice two-way player that had 7 assists, 12 points, 5 rebounds. I mean, give me some more of those that are found late in the draft. Jaquez is having a great year for the Heat, averaging 17 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. He's nice, man. And they got him 18th overall. And you look on the other side at someone like Podziemski, who the Warriors got 17th overall. Sure, he outscored him, but who played a better game? Who would you rather have on your team at this current second, Jaquez or Podziemski? I mean, I'm sure someone out there would say, Chuck, you're too hard on your guy Podziemski. You said last year that it was like life alert. And help, I've fallen. Somebody call life alert. I've fallen for Podziemski's game. I did say that, yes, but he's been, in my opinion, it just feels like he's struggling, even though the numbers doesn't say it. Khalil Ware, 7 points, 16 rebounds, 4 offensive rebounds. He's like Stretch Armstrong out there. Just corrals it. He's a great offensive rebounder. Did try a couple of threes today, 3 of them to be exact, missed all 3, but 16 rebounds from him. That was a reason why the Warriors weren't able to completely dominate on the glass, even though the Dubs did win that statistic by 9. Bam had 20 points, 7 rebounds. Davion Mitchell had 5 points. He always plays good perimeter defense. And Pele Larson, the Arizona Wildcat, had 10 points. And Fontecchio, Simone Fontecchio. Man, that's an Italian man. He had 10 points total. And I really hope with that last name, he's Italian. Someone doesn't pop in. He's like, no, he's not from Italy, you moron. But Fontecchio, I mean, come on now. So final score, Heat 110, Warriors 96. Let's take a look around the league. And first of all, before we go around the league, let's take a look at what's coming up for the Warriors. I'm going to be down around Chase Center Friday night, taking on the Portland Trailblazers. May go live in the arena, but honestly, when I did it last year, it was a lot easier with KPIX when you had the cameraman and the live shots and people back at the station helping out. When it's just you and a laptop and a camera and, people trying to rush you out and you're trying to get a decent angle. Last year I was hanging on a railing doing the show, sitting on a railing for 30 minutes. So we'll see if we go live from there, just around the bay. But Portland, that's on Friday. That is obviously an NBA Cup game. So we'll see the Warriors NBA Cup court for the first time, I believe. Yes, because we saw it at San Antonio and Denver. This is the league, or the group, I guess we call it. It's like soccer. The group from hell, with Portland in there, with Denver in there, with San Antonio in there. I mean, the fact that Houston's in there, I believe, as well. The fact that Portland is kind of the weakest link, unless you consider the Warriors, considering they've already lost to Portland, and Portland has, I guess Portland's ice cold at this point. I said to Kolsky and on this show that Portland was going to win 46 plus games, and they've come back down to earth, to say the least. They've lost 5 of their last 6 in a battle with the Bulls as we're recording, but their only win in their last 6 is to the Pelicans. Now, I will say those losses to the Heat, okay, Warriors just lost to them. To the Magic, okay, Warriors just lost to them. To the Rockets, okay. Mavericks, Suns, So Portland not playing great basketball. Based on who's running out there tonight, I can tell you, I know for a fact that Scoot Henderson is still injured with that hamstring tear. Drew Holiday is dealing with a calf issue. Jeremy Grant has been out with some illness. Obviously, Dame Lillard not playing. But they still have Shaedon Sharpe and Denny Avdia, who's gotten off to a great start to this season. As you know, Avdia averaging 25, 6, and 4. And then Shaedon Sharpe, kind of the second player, that two-headed snake. He's averaging 22 and 5. Also, Tamani Kamara, we saw his perimeter defense and just his ability to block shots and to finish in transition and do everything except put the ball in the basket right now, because he's only shooting 39% from the floor as Kamara, but he's averaging 12 and 5. And then they got big Donovan Clingan down low. So despite the Blazers having lost 5 of their last 6, they will still be a tough battle for the Warriors on Friday night. That is from Chase Center. Around the league on this Wednesday, games that are final. Rockets beat the Cavs 114-104. Houston's 10-3. I mentioned on our last show, they got the best three-point shooting team in basketball, which makes no sense because last year they were a bunch of bricklayers, and minus Kevin Durant, it's the same exact team. But dudes are hitting shots. Jabari Smith went 3 of 6 tonight. Aaron Holiday went 3 of 5. Reed Shepherd upped his 35% shooting last year to more of what we've come to expect. It's upwards of 50%. Amin Thompson's not shooting threes, so that doesn't really affect your statistics. Şengün's knocking him down at a nice clip, although he didn't take any today. And then you got Durant, who hits it at a 40% clip. So that team can shoot threes. They've been nice to start, beating Cleveland by a lot. Rockets clearly in a better spot than the Warriors at this current moment, but still, Warriors are always going to have arguably the best player on the floor, the most important player on the floor when they go up against just about anyone. Pacers beat the Hornets. Con Knipple 28-8-7. He models his game after Klay Thompson and has that same quick release. It looks very similar when you watch them shoot. And man, Knipple has been one of the great surprises in the NBA thus far. 28-8-7. He's averaging. Not averaging, but scored in this game. He's averaging closer to 18 points and 6 rebounds on 46% and a nice, 40% flat from 3-point range. And it was Bobby Portis that actually said he is the most impressive rookie he's seen thus far. Saw Flagg, saw Edgecombe. I don't know if he's seen Cedric Coward, who's another good one, but said, no, it's Khan, man. That dude just, you see him in the parking lot of a Safeway and you just assume he's someone there for, I mean, he's probably there regardless for some sports drinks and some water, whatever. But you just think he was a normal dude pushing his cart. And then you see him suit up for the Hornets and you're like, nah, damn, that guy can ball. 28-8-7 again. But the Pacers won that game, Mathurin with 24 to lead the way. The Toronto Raptors, who the Warriors have coming up soon, are actually pretty good. They're 10-5. Pirtle had 19-8. They beat the Sixers by 9, who dropped to 8-6. Tyrese Maxey, one of his least good, one of his worst scoring games of the season with 24 points. That's how good he's been. He's been one of the top 3 or 4 scorers in basketball all season long. We mentioned the Warriors score. Pat Spencer getting the top performance on the ESPN update with 11, 8, and 13, nearly a triple-double. Wolves beat the Wizards 120-109. Julius Randle at 32, 10, and 6. They're still the Wolves. They're 10-5. Anthony Edwards running that de facto point guard. And then the Wizards' Keontae George led the way with, Keyshawn George. How many times am I going to get those two mixed up? Keyshawn, a draft class later, plays for the Wizards, not the Jazz, but Keyshawn from Miami, the Hurricanes, 23, 7, and 7. He obviously doesn't get a lot of attention on a really bad team, but he's a nice player that's got a good game, and you'll be hearing his name for years to come, I would think. Nuggets got 32 points from Peyton Watson, 32-12. They beat the Pelicans by 7, despite Derek Queen going for 30-9. A big breakout performance from the rookie from Maryland, who's a bright spot for the Pelicans thus far, averaging about 10-6, which is good for, any 20-year-old in the association. And then the Thunder, they're now 15-1. They beat the Kings 113-99. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, you know what he does. He went for 33 and 8 in the game. That's a look around the league. To the comments, everyone that joined us that way, we appreciate you. No Kolsky on, which means I did not have time to get to your questions today, but I'll check them out after the show is over. So leave those things in the comments on YouTube. If you're hanging out with us on our audio podcast platform, please give us the 5-star if you're an everydayer, if you listen to the show. The ratings, they struggle. They struggle. I inherited a mess, and it's still a mess down there. But I do my best. We come at you every day. We're free. We're not behind a paywall. We talk Warriors. We change our mind when good opinions present themselves. And my opinion today is good fight. It was a scheduled loss. You probably need to make a trade at some point, but that's for another day. Let's get Steph Curry back on the floor. Let's get these guys back to Chase Center, and let's beat the Portland Trail Blazers on Friday. Appreciate you all. Peace.